next pick going through the second round was a name that I thought was an absolute steal with JK
Highway
Dobbins
robbery.
falling to the Ravens. JK Dobbins out of Ohio State. And I believe in Dobbins, especially in this offense that was far and away the top rushing team. When we're including Lamar Jackson's numbers in there. To me, Dobbins, though, is going to be like a Devin Singletary type of situation this year. He's going to have huge breakout potential in 2021, but it's another situation where it's a crowded running back room. We have Ingram, Gus Edwards is still there, and I'm pretty sure Justice Hill is still there. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct.
So Ingram was there, and he had a great season last year, 13.5 attempts per game, 5 yards per attempt, 29 targets. Gus Edwards was actually seeing 8.3 attempts per game, which was pretty surprising to me. I didn't think he had that much volume, and had 5.3 yards per attempt. So the efficiency is there. The question is Dobbins going to see that volume? I'm curious to hear what you think, Alex.
Oh, man. This one's tough because I think it's going to be just about as close as you can get to a 50-50 split. I'm out on Ingram this year. I would rather have DeAndre Swift than Mark Ingram. I would rather have David Montgomery than Mark Ingram. Quote me on that one, Steph.
Wow. Hot takes here,
but it's tough. This Baltimore Ravens offense has plenty of carries to go around. They ran it almost 600 times last season. They were at 596. But with Ingram and Dobbins, I do think that Gus Edwards is going to get phased out. Edwards had 133 carries last season and 711 yards, which is, actually pretty solid. People don't realize Gus Edwards, the Gus Bus himself, had over 700 rushing yards. So super impressive. But unfortunately for Gus, I think he finds that third spot on the depth chart, maybe fourth, because Justice Hill will get some receiving work. So I think a lot of that volume that Gus Edwards saw last year is going to go straight to JK Dobbins. I think Dobbins throughout the season is going to continue to get ramped up. I think that's something we see often in rookies. Think about just last year. You had Devin Singletary and Miles Sanders, both super talented guys. And by the end of the season, they were featured in their respective offenses. So I think that's going to be a similar situation here in Baltimore with Dobbins. And I actually have both Dobbins and Ingram as lower-end RB2s. It's tough because with a lot of these other situations, we've talked about it, it's going to be a timeshare. Both guys are going to have weeks where they're effective, but it's just going to be really hard to play that guessing game on which guy's going to get the touchdown that week or which guy's going to get the 5 targets. And in this offense, I certainly think Dobbins will be more featured in the receiving game than Mark Ingram. But I think Mark Ingram is going to finish the season with more touchdowns than J.K. Dobbins. So because of that, I think both of them are going to cannibalize each other a bit. I honestly don't think the Ravens are going to run the ball 596 times again either. And Lamar Jackson is surely going to get his share of carries. So just because they're not going to blow teams out by 40 points a game and sit their starters in the fourth quarter, I think there's actually going to be a higher split of passing volume versus rushing volume for the Ravens. Still will be plenty to go around, but I don't know that we're going to see, both Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson run for over 1,000 yards while J.K. Dobbins is still able to get 750, 800 yards. I just don't think that's realistic for next year. Steph, some hot takes baked in here, some hate on Mark Ingram, but tell me where you think I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I agree with a lot of it. I think, Mark Ingram having a down season is in the range of outcomes, and Dobbins could take over if he shows a lot of promise early, but we know every piece in this rushing offense is going to be efficient. They're going to have the upside. You can potentially plug them in every given Sunday, but I'm just not ready to crown Dobbins as that top name even at 150 attempts. I love his potential, but I don't see him moving into a clear 1 or even a 1A spot like some of the other names we've talked about. To me, he's a handcuff in redraft. He's a dynasty stash certainly for 2021.
Yep.
Love Dobbins. Really, the question is he going to be Ingram's successor, or is he going to be, another guy in that stable, another type of Gus Edwards, Justice Hill that helps the team, but isn't necessarily the guy you want in fantasy? So 2021, I love him, but for this year, I'd rather take any of the names that we've talked about so far.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think this could be the season that's kind of the changing of the guard, where we see J.K. Dobbins get ramped up. Maybe it is close to that 50-50 split, and then Ingram will be just another year older in 2021, so maybe that's where Dobbins starts to take more of that workhorse role. I sounded like I hated on the pick a little bit there, but I actually love this move for Baltimore. They're a team that wants to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. So they went out and got a super talented running back that fell right into their lap in the draft. So I love the move for Baltimore for fantasy football, though. I'm staying away from Ingram this season for sure. And then Dobbins, I might get a couple shares just in case something happens to Ingram as that handcuff. And in Dynasty, I do love him. If he's my RB3 and I don't have to start him every week in Dynasty and I can stash him and hold him for next season, that's a great situation in my eyes.
Yeah, Ingram has a potential out in his contract in 2021. If they do keep him on the Ravens, they're paying him $5 million base salary that year. So I think it's very, very likely that they're setting Dobbins up to be fantastic later on. Just don't really like it this season for all the reasons we've thrown out there.